Does this table of numbers, symbols, and words look familiar to you? That's because it's the periodic table of elements, an important tool scientists and chemists use in their everyday lives. To understand the periodic table, we must first understand the structure of an atom. An atom is made up of three particles called protons, neutrons, and electrons. Protons are positively charged and can be found in the nucleus of an atom. Neutrons have no charge and can be found in the nucleus as well. Electrons are negatively charged and surround the nucleus. Remember, the nucleus of an atom is very small, but it makes up 99.9% of its mass. Now that we have some basic knowledge, let's dive into the periodic table of elements. What is the periodic table and why is it so significant? The periodic table is a way of organizing all of the chemical elements, which are simple substances that cannot be broken down. Since the periodic table puts elements with similar properties into groups, they can help us predict the properties of ones that haven't even been discovered. Chemists, scientists, and nanotechnologists all use the periodic table in their jobs. Here's a brief history of the periodic table. Dmitry Mendeleev, a Russian chemist, developed the first model of the periodic table in 1869. Mendeleev arranged these elements by their atomic mass, which is the total number of protons and neutrons in the atom's nucleus, and noticed that they shared some properties in common through this way. Mendeleev predicted that some elements had not been discovered yet, so he left blank spaces for them. After many years later, scientists now group elements by their atomic number, which is the number of protons in the nucleus, and that determines the element's chemical properties. Many new elements have also been discovered from the time Mendeleev made the first periodic table to now. Now let's talk about chemical symbols. Chemical symbols are like abbreviations. This allows scientists to write down information quickly. Each element has its own chemical symbol. The symbols for the elements never change, no matter where you are located in the world. For example, Na stands for sodium, and it is the same for every country around the world. A chemical symbol is always one or two letters. If it is one letter, the first letter is capitalized. If two, the first is capital and the second is lowercase. Basic information about the periodic table. Periodic tables include the atomic number, chemical symbol, name, and atomic mass for each element. On most periodic tables, there will be a dark zigzag line. Elements to the right of that line are nonmetals, and elements to the left are metals. All periodic tables are organized by atomic number. The atomic mass of an element is measured in AMU, or atomic mass units. Organization of the periodic table in detail. As mentioned, all present-day periodic tables are organized by the element's atomic number. Rows on the periodic table are called periods, which are lines of elements that go across the table. Columns on the periodic table are called groups, which are lines of elements that go up and down the table. These groups are known as families and have some characteristics in common. Metals. Metals are listed to the left of the zigzag line on the periodic table. Metals have some properties in common, such as being shiny, conducting heat and electricity, and being malleable, easy to shape. Metals also have chemical properties in common, like being reactive, combining with other substances easily, and being corrosive, deteriorating from a chemical reaction. Calcium is an example of a metal found in the human body, and it helps make bones. Nonmetals. Nonmetals are listed to the right of the zigzag line on the periodic table. Nonmetals are poor conductors of heat and electricity. They can also often be very fragile. Most nonmetals turn into gases at room temperature. When nonmetals react with other elements, they gain one electron, forming compounds. When two or more atoms bond, a molecule is formed. Examples of nonmetals are carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and phosphorus. There is also a third category known as metalloids. Metalloids are located between metals and nonmetals. They have some properties of metals and some properties of nonmetals. All metalloids are solid at room temperature. They can be hard, fragile, and somewhat reactive. They are great conductors of electricity. Silicon is an example of a metalloid. Well, now you know all about that periodic table. Thanks for watching this video, and consider subscribing to my channel.